What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo, and we have got a hell of a recap for today. A lot of football, crazy comebacks, like unbelievable style football that we saw this weekend, my man. I'm pumped to get into it. Brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Everything considered, took an L this weekend. Your team got a win.
Finally.
Congratulations there. Obviously, a lot to talk about with that game and all the other games that happened this last week. I'm just riding the high right now of a good fantasy football season more than anything. But I for whatever reason, I feel positivity even towards my Vikings, who are currently sitting at 500. And positivity is a thing I think that we need right now in this world, in this landscape. We need positivity, even when things look at their most dire. Even when you're a fan of the Miami Dolphins or the New York Jets, you got to have some positivity. I mean, for the Jets, you've got Woody backing you, making team decisions. That should be a positive feeling, right? Yeah. That's always good when your owner steps in. It's worked so well for like the Cowboys and all these other organizations. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. There's some interesting things that happen with coaches, some owners, players. The interview or the post game with Justin Fields it felt really bad. Like I was very confused as to what was said to him, and then the comments came out afterward that obviously things were not very good with the way the organization feels about Justin Fields right now. So there's going to be a ton of upheaval with that organization and that team. I would imagine that we will probably not see Justin Fields back out on that football field.
Definitely not this week. I mean, Woody Johnson came out and said today that he's stepping in, and Tyrod Taylor is the new starter. Yeah. So, that's probably a net positive.
Probably. For fantasy owners of Garrett Wilson, it's definitely a net positive.
Yeah. But look, obviously a lot of stuff that we want to get into, a lot of stuff with these games that we want to talk about, but we do have to pay the bills. We got to always do our, Tuesday ad read to make sure that we can keep the lights on here, because the government sure as fuck ain't paying me to keep the lights on. So got to do our due diligence. And today, this week's episode of Raw Dog Sports is brought to you by Troy Vincent and the NFL Referees Association. Surprise, surprise. Officiating is showing its struggles yet again in the NFL. This is something that we talk about quite often on the show, but we've been graced with the NFL officiating actually sponsoring us today. It seems like no amount of technological advancement can prevent the league standard bearers from stepping on their crank and helping to promote the conspiracy theories to a point that they're becoming less and less defendable. What is a catch? What isn't a catch? How do we determine if a catch counts when something, the ball grazes the ground just barely and then disqualifies the catch, or when the ball bounces off the ground and moves around in a player's hands, but that's A-okay. What truly is a possession of a football or a football move? If only we could clearly define these things somewhere, like in a rule book or something along those lines. In the military, we call this an SOP, but we don't need to get all militaristic about it. This is why the NFL and their officiating crews need your help and your support. Please feel it in your heart. Donate your hard-earned money to this sport in any way that you possibly can. It doesn't matter that the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar organization. How are we supposed to set, enforce, and operate the standards with both efficiency and accuracy while leveraging cutting-edge technology and also pay the referees a full-time salary? We're currently forced to only have part-time employees. Yes, forced. And as such, we feel that it would be a cruel and inappropriate mistake to actually hold these officials and ourselves accountable for when we make asinine errors and egregious mistakes. I mean, who's to say when replay assist should or shouldn't be used? Who's to say when it's appropriate to use a sky judge or not? We might have set forth some guidelines, but how can we be expected to actually follow those guidelines without more funding from you, the fans? I mean, really, do you expect us to not illegally call a penalty from New York when someone scores on the Chiefs? You should be thanking us. It's tough to find time to appropriately officiate from afar while also levying appropriate fines when a player wears a towel that totally clashes with the fit. If we weren't levying those fines, we'd actually have to call out all the infractions happening on the tush push, and that's no fun. So please help us help you, the fan. Help by giving us some of your undivided and unquestioning support. Keep funneling us your money so we can try and make the fix a little bit less obvious. Because if you don't, and you keep talking shit, well, we're going to throw a yellow flag at you and make sure that your streaming subscription prices just keep climbing. We'll get our money one way or another. We're the NFL. Now, the refs, the NFL, Troy Vincent, none of them are actually sponsors of Raw Dog Sports. This is obviously all satire. But still, we want to thank you, NFL Officiating, for giving us a whole lot to talk about on a week-to-week basis.
Absolutely, guys. I mean, and if I'm an NFL referee right now, the only way you're getting me to become a full-time employee, because I've got the sweetest gig in the world right now, is to show me the money. There's my movie quote, guys. I finally got it in. Because listen, that's what it's going to take. These guys are not going to give up their whatever lucrative other fucking day jobs are so they can go and screw up your Sunday, because the NFL pays them handsomely and then covers their asses at all costs. It doesn't make any sense why the officials get away with it. And the NFL, with the fines, is getting a little ridiculous. The black towel, who gives a fuck what color the towel is? It shouldn't matter.
It's not even a matter of like, oh, this guy's like repping champion sports gear, and the NFL is only sponsored by Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour. No, it's like not even that. It's just your color's off. So now we get to take $6,000 from you. And what do we put that towards? Our fucking pockets. That's about it. The NFL has some semblance of policing their officials. The pool report, where they have to talk to the reporters and nothing fucking comes out. Also, it helps determine, based off their accuracy and things like that, whether or not they get to officiate in playoff games in the Super Bowl. And that does determine some income. However, if I was really bad at my job, and then my job said, now you just can't work overtime, I'm still getting my pay, right? That's essentially what's happening here for the refs. Is it like, hey, you're still going to get your pay. You can be dog shit. You're still going to get your pay. Don't worry. But you're just not going to be afforded the opportunity for some overtime. What do you fucking do? We have and have had plenty of lazy employees that we've both worked around who do the bare fucking minimum because they know no one's going to fucking fire them.
Maybe.
And that's kind of what's happening here. The NFL has essentially infinite funding. Like they make money hand over fist. It's why so many people want to get into NFL ownership, because once you're part of that elite crew, you are set forever. There has been no NFL owners, despite any stupid fucking things that they do, that end up like going bankrupt. Like they just make money hand over fist until somehow they get edged out because they show off their wiener to an employee or racist remarks or things like that. You know, that shit happens. You know, that's intolerable. And I get it.
Right.
But the point is that we've got essentially infinite money here. And we're just barely starting to breach into some of these great technologies like replay assist and things like that. And being able to track the ball so quick that we don't need to have the fucking polls for the first down marker on the side of the field. But yet we can't implement them correctly because we're fucking stupid. I don't know how else to fucking put it. You're fucking stupid. And then to have actual blatant written out rules that you yourself aren't following, but then when a player
wild.
Dude. When a player breaks a rule, you're the first to fucking fine them. Fucking fine yourself. NFL, give money back to the fans. Oh shit. Every fan gets back $1 on what they fucking paid because we fucked up. I bet you they'd learn then. I bet you if they fucking started going to the teams and saying like, hey, you don't have to pay us any of your fucking shared revenue because we fucked you this week, they would do something. But that would require internal policing. So, right. And they're never going to obviously do that. So maybe start fucking officiating correctly simply by the rules. Because we've had at least 2 infractions this week where it involved New York, the sky judge, whatever you want to call it, replay assist, where they fucked up. They did not follow their own rules. And nothing's going to come from it.
No, hell no.
Especially when they're on.
Follow the rules. Actually, this gives me an opportunity to say one of my favorite, like little, it's something that I came up with, like rules that do not apply to everybody are not rules. They're personalized suggestions. And for the most part, I don't care enough about your opinion to take your suggestion. So if the rules don't apply to everybody, that's not a fucking rule.
Yeah. It's frustrating. It played a little bit of part in my game. There's a lot that went into my game beyond the officiating.
Oh, yeah.
It's still frustrating. But, you know, for like, and we've already kind of talked about this to an extent, but the Lions fans played Kansas City, you got fucked. That very well could have changed the game. And you have officials who aren't even on the same page, who are in direct disagreement with replay assist or the officials in New York. And to my understanding, you can't call a penalty based off of replay assist, but they've done it now. And now we've broken that. You aren't supposed to have the officials on the field have no evidence that they can go off of to change a play, and then have New York say, well, we do. You might not down there, but we do. I believe that if there's not enough evidence, you go with the call on the field. That's right. Kind of what's in the rule book. It's also a little silly to me, and I'll get on a diatribe here, about things that happen after a game. Dude, typically, when something happens after a game, a player can be penalized for it, right?
Yeah.
They can be penalized, to my knowledge, through a fine, unless they do something that is like egregious that causes a suspension, right? Has verbal abuse ever been enough for a 1-game suspension? To my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, not happened. What happened this week is Greenlaw talked some shit, and the game's over, and the ref's like, my feelings are hurt, flag. Like that somehow has any bearing in the outside world.
Right.
But got his feelings hurt, and now Greenlaw is suspended and appealing. No word on the appeal yet. But if he doesn't win his appeal, which I'm sure that he won't, because the NFL is who decided to suspend him for a game, then the NFL has to police themselves and say, wait, that was really stupid of us. But we're not stupid. We're the NFL. What is he going to do? Can't appeal again.
You can try. But
silly.
Arbitration, but nobody's going to hear that.
Yeah. And word from producer Amber. She says news is out. Apparently it was upheld. The suspension was upheld, allegedly. So
thank you, producer Amber, for hopping in there with the insight. I was about to have to go to Sleeves to be like to find out what was going on.
Hello, Mike. I'm here for you. Go.
Oh man. So are we ready to start diving into the week that was? Let's take a look at the bets that we had, and then we'll start breaking down some of these games, because there's a lot of storylines that came out of these games. Injuries, blowouts, and fucking like crazy comeback. The Broncos game was one of the funnest games I've watched in a long time.
It was very impressive. But so this is how our week looks. Obviously, both of us did not start off the greatest. Pretty close to 50-50 there. I kind of had a better stretch the way that it looks there through the second half of the day. However, you ended up 8-7. I ended up 9-6. We moved our total yearly winning percentages by, I believe, 2.2 maybe, and it was up 0.1 for me from a 59.1 to a 59 point. Making progress in the right direction. All right. Is it fantastic progress? No, but still, we are in the green, if you will, because we're above 50%. Now, it might only be 0.9 for you, and it might only be 9% for me, but still, one bad week and we could fucking really dip. But we're not doing that. We're on the positives right now. We are on that positive mojo going forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, man. Like, I felt pretty good, but there was obviously a couple games that were in here that it just did not go the way I thought they would. Interesting calls, and we'll get into it, man. I want to have a great week at one of these points. I think, is it 4 teams on bye this week, so we'll only have 13 games?
Correct. Yeah, only 13 games this upcoming week.
Yeah, so a little lighter on the games. Hopefully we can really boost that percentage up with that odd number, so we won't be going even. No. Oh man, let's start diving into the week that was.
All righty. Yep. So we already covered our Thursday night game. We have the Bengals and Steelers. Bengals got the win there, and Aaron Rodgers goes home crying about being tackled, and that apparently threw him off his mojo. I don't know if we got to talk about that. Obviously, we talked about Aaron Rodgers being tackled, but he actually had interview.
Is that a real quote? Was that real?
Yes, I believe so. He said, it's going to sound weird, but it threw me off, and I wasn't able to make the completions at the end of the game. We can't be doing stupid shit. Look, I'm going to say it was real. I fucking at the end of the day don't know, but it sounds like Aaron Rodgers to me. Sounds very believable. Bitch. So that'll take us to our actual Sunday games, though.
Yeah.
We have out there in London, Rams, Jaguars. Rams get the win 35-7. Jags did not look like they showed up to play at all, especially their receiving core. So many drops in this game. I did watch a majority of the game, as I typically try to get up to watch these. BTJ dropping things left and right. He did not look like the best receiver on the field. Travis Hunter had himself kind of a breakout game in this one. We also saw, I believe, is it Malik Washington had himself a pretty decent game, despite a couple drops as well. Big showing from the Rams. Good game from them. But the Jags did not travel well like I expected them to. And I put a lot of this on the drops in this game. It was egregious and noticeable. I thought Calvin Ridley might have still been on this Jags team.
So the man's name is Parker Washington.
There is a Malik Washington out there somewhere. I swear to God.
For sure. But you said Malik as like, that's not. Nope, that's not even close. I don't know if you could be more opposite. Parker.
Look,
kid's name.
I'm not racist. I swear to God.
That sounds like a white kid's name.
There is a Malik Washington out there that I'm pretty sure plays receiver. Yeah. While you get into your thoughts on this game, I'm going to fucking save myself.
Okay. So listen, it was a complete fucking ass whoop. The Rams didn't really have to do much. Stafford throws 5 touchdowns. He's done it multiple times now. It was just dink, dunk, get whatever you want. The Jags couldn't stay on the field. There's not a lot to say about this game. It was a complete and utter ass whooping.
Yeah. Malik Washington, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, also their primary returner. Parker Washington, returner and wide receiver for the Jags. Maybe they're related. It's not a very common name, of course. Bad showing there from the Jags, kind of a little bit more of what we expect from them overall going into the year. Hopefully they get back home and are able to kind of figure some shit out. Next up,
I hope they keep fucking losing. What are you talking about? I got their pick. I hope the Jags lose their ass.
For your sake. But look, it definitely is going to bring up a question and conversation continuing going forward about Trevor Lawrence. But look, I thought Lawrence actually played an all right game. Again, it was a lot of drops that happened for him. Next up, my Vikings versus the Eagles. We'll go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off. Vikings lose 28-22 in this game. At the end of the day, the Carson Wentz experiment is we are seeing the full-fledged Carson Wentz of generally what should be expected through his tenure as a starter here with the Vikings. You have some good play, you have some pretty bad play, you have a lot of blue screen of death type situations, and we got to see a little bit more of the negative in this one. We saw underthrown balls, we saw him missing wide open receivers, especially on little screens and flat throws. And it was difficult to watch there. On top of that, we had 2 interceptions from him. Both of them were pretty fucking bad, including one of those being returned for a pick 6. Red zone efficiency was absolutely terrible. We got down to the red zone, I believe, 6 times, scored 1 touchdown, and the rest were field goals. The caveat to that is Justin Jefferson did have 1 ball stripped away from him, which is abnormal in the end zone. And then we had another touchdown, specifically one that was kind of talked about a little bit in our opening segment there with TJ Hawkinson. Yeah. Looked like a pretty good catch to me. I understand the ball made contact with the ground while he was in full possession of it. And while on his back, he re-gripped. Didn't touch the ground while he was re-gripping, and he maintained within the end zone. The frustrating thing to me with this one is that it does look like a pretty good catch. If we want to say that the NFL rule is the fact that it touched the ground ever after the catch and then the possession was then lost somehow afterwards, I think that's a weird understanding of the rule personally. But the problem is that when he has officials going up to him saying, we rule this as a catch, they ruled it as a catch on the field, and officials going up to him after the fact, after New York calls in and says, actually, we don't think it's a catch. And the rest say, yeah, we don't agree with them. We think that was a catch. We ruled it as a catch. That's no bueno. Both military, we know that if NCOs are going to fight, you don't do it in front of the Joes. Yep. Well, the NCOs in this instance went back to the Joes and said, yep, they fucked up. And that's going to cause discontent. And obviously, TJ Hawkinson was pretty upset with it afterwards. And then we saw more catches this week. We saw instances of a Travis Kelce catch in their last game where it was more egregious, where the ball was like moving as it touched the ground, and it was ruled a catch. And there was no replay assist, nothing coming in saying, no, that wasn't a catch. It just, they aren't using a flat ruling at that point, which brings into the question, what the fuck is the NFL doing? Is it rigged? All that stuff. I don't think it's rigged, but I do think that like you're not dispelling that it's rigged by doing a dog shit job of officiating. Either way, that was frustrating. But from the Vikings perspective, obviously we can't have those picks, can't have those pick 6s. But we did a pretty damn good job of withholding the run game. Isaiah Rodgers, I need to speak about this. I love that we brought him in. I think he's a fantastic player. Obviously, he had a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal game against the Bengals. He is a good player. He got torched in this game. It was a bad one for him, and it was a bad look because it was going up against his old team. The stuff that he received on social media is so fucking egregiously bad, like, and uncalled for. He's a human being. He plays fucking sports. I even get trash talking him a little bit, but dropping the N-word, calling him Hitler or worse than Hitler, all this shit, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it's terrible. Like, that is not what my fan base is about. That is not what football fans should be about in general. Sorry your football team lost the game. Sorry you have a person that you want to pick on for it. Fucking that sort of rhetoric is absolutely uncalled for. It's fucking stupid. And I apologized to Isaiah Rodgers on X because he's very active on X, talks with the fans. He's been so great to the Minnesota fans since being here. Not the type of guy that deserves anything like that. But anyways, back to the game. We only lost by 6. That's where my positivity comes into this. Our issues, our errors in this game are correctable. Like, pass defense has to tighten up, but we actually played a good game versus the run in this one, versus Saquon Barkley, who kind of does look like he's taking a step back. Like, they can't block for him like they used to.
I don't think it's Saquon. think it might be the offense.
I mean, I think teams are keen in on it that the offensive line is not as good, but also like they have figured out how to correctly defend against that style of runner. To an extent, I still think Saquon is one of the best running backs in the NFL, but I don't think that the scheming for it is working right now. Amongst other things, we did a lot of good stuff in this game. We did to keep it that close. Like we had every opportunity to go and try to win the game by the end. And weren't able to follow through. And we only lost by 6 versus the defending Super Bowl champions. I think that is something that the team needs to take as, there's no moral victories, but like with slight corrections to some of these things and better quarterback play, it's very possibly a win. So, look, we're going into a short week. We're obviously going to talk about the Thursday night game here in a little bit. The Vikings play on Thursday night versus the Chargers. Carson Wentz has been named the starter for that one again. I actually was, and I'm not like a huge anti-Carson Wentz guy. I think he is what he thought we was. We're getting what we were expecting from a fucking backup quarterback.
Thought he was.
Yeah, like he's a backup quarterback who is extremely volatile. That's what I expect. If we weren't going to play JJ McCarthy this week, I wanted to see Max Brosmer out there just for the fun of it, because I think Max Brosmer looked fantastic this preseason. And I think that you're going to have maybe less high-end plays, but you're also going to probably mitigate a lot of the fucking crazy shit. I would have loved to have seen that. I don't want Carson Wentz to get knocked out of the game, but I would like to see Max Brosmer get a shot before it is McCarthy's show again and he runs for the rest of the season. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents about my Vikings game. I know that was a long diatribe. It went in multiple different avenues. It sucks. It's a loss.
Yeah. Listen, man, I get it. I understand your passion. Finally, I get to have a great week for myself. I don't normally get to enjoy the victory Monday, or now for us Tuesday. But man, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts balled. But I mean, it's because he was taking advantage of Isaiah Rodgers. It was just a bad game. The Eagles did what they had to do. And we've kind of been saying it that team goes as Jalen Hurts goes right now. Like if Jalen can, because everything is running through him. So it worked out. 19 to 23 for 326 and 3 tuds. That's a great fucking day. A perfect passer rating. So you have no complaints. Jalen did all those things that people say he can't do. But it was, you guys played one of the worst defensive games you played in a while on the back end.
Yeah, specifically in that passing defense. And I think that like we were set up in a weird fashion. That we weren't able to get home again, despite having good pressures. I love Josh Metellus. He's a great, like, weird hybrid linebacker safety box guy, but putting him up against AJ Brown is probably not the answer. And so despite that, to only give up 28 points with that bad of a showing, again, things go better on offense, and all of a sudden, like, we're in this game, we're winning it. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of positive things that I can see coming from this. Obviously, there's just some corrections that need to be made, and maybe if the NFL officiating doesn't fuck up, we get 1 or 2 touchdowns on top of what we already had. It, like, changes the game script a lot. But goddamn, good job by our kicker for fucking kicking a million field goals. Big Dick Bill doing his thing.
Oh man! All right, well, good job, Bill. You ready to move on to the next one, brother?
Absolutely. We have the Saints going versus the Bears. Bears get the win here, 26-14. Spencer Rattler still had an okay day, 20-32, 233 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the Bears jumped out to a pretty quick and big lead, 20-7 at halftime, and they kind of maintained that throughout the rest of the game. Another really good day from DeAndre Swift. They're starting to get some things going there in Chicago. And like I said, Chicago's a really tough place to play, and Saints are a pretty bad team. So I had hopes that the Saints would at least be able to keep it kind of close. But Bears moved to 4-2. They are right up there with the top of the NFC North, though Vikings are the worst team there, and they're 3-3. Like, the division right now is very tough. Very, very tough.
It feels like every time I pick a fucking over bet, man, there's just a shitload of turnovers. And turnovers spell no points. and that this game was just full of them. It was not a pretty game to watch back, even in the shorter fucking version. The Bears got it done. DeAndre Swift did fine, but like Caleb Williams didn't show out. Like this wasn't some sort of dominant win. This was a pretty bad game by the Saints. Spencer Rattler probably played one of his worst games of the year. 3 turnovers. Fucking turnovers do not lend themselves to hitting overs. And it seems like every time I take an over, there's just a shitload of turnovers in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next up, you want to talk about this one. Dolphins versus your Browns. You were there in-house, even on the big screen there in Cleveland. Shame on you for not shouting out Raw Dog Sports as one of your movie quotes.
I had the hat on.
You had the hat on. I was like thinking about it while you were giving a movie quote, specifically, how do you like them apples? Like, how do you like them apples? Raw Dog Sports is like freak out, great promo, but it's okay. I forgive you. Great job for being on the scoreboard there, and great game from your Browns. It is just so surprising to me that when you start to lean into what your team is really good at, good things can happen. You ran the fuck out of the ball. Quinshon Judkins had himself a fucking day, and you dominated and decimated a team that ended up having to take Tua out and put in Quinn Ewers.
So this is going to be very quick on the Browns side. Browns dominated this game from start to finish. The defense was fucking spectacular. Mason Graham was awesome in this game. Myles Garrett showed up in this game. That defensive line is fucking exceptional, and this Dolphins team didn't show up at all. The weather was miserable. We were out. It was pouring the majority of the game. And they looked disinterested. Like, I'm surprised that McDaniel kept his job after this game, because that's what we should be talking about. The big storyline from this game is not necessarily about my Browns, even though I love what we saw. I love 3 touchdowns from Quinshon. I'd like a little bit more efficiency, but on a shitty field that day with all the rain, and I understand not having a crazy high yards per carry. But the fact that Mike McDaniels goes afterward to this press conference. Have you watched Mike's full press conference afterward?
Yes.
It was really hard to listen to. He was trying to dance around a lot of things. He was saying some things without saying some things. I feel very strongly that Tua will not be starting this week. I think this will not be the only guy. Justin Fields is not the only guy that got benched. There's going to be Tua's getting benched this week. They got to look at Quinn, 5 for 8, couple sacks, whatever. Tua was atrocious in this game. It was fantastic from my standpoint. But as a Dolphins fan, it was like watching a high school quarterback go out there and try to do shit. Like, Dylan Gabriel is also a weak-armed quarterback. But, like, he was the game plan, the calls that were made weren't even all that different between, because they weren't pushing the ball down the field either team. And Dylan was just able to do that at a better clip. Tua didn't know what he was looking at half the time. He was confused as shit. So if you're going to have a guy who's confused as shit, let's maybe bring out Quinn Ewers, who's going to have maybe some more physical upsides than Tua might. Because Tua was absolutely lost. And the comments by Mike kind of suggest that I don't think that he's willing to throw Tua under the bus, kind of like B-Flow was. Because I think it is Tua's fault. I understand that Mike has lost that locker room, and that is his fault. So he needs to be fired as well at some point at the end of the year, or however badly this turns. But they cannot turn back to Tua, in my opinion. It is, especially after Tua calls out his teammates, is forced to apologize, and then his coach calls him out for his fucking bad play in a very weird way. He can't get through any sentence without saying, well, yeah, like, it was tough. what is your take on what you saw here? I know the Browns, that was great. You talked about the running game. On the Dolphins side, what did you see? Because for me, it was insane watching the team. They gave up, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this team absolutely has just kind of given up. There's infighting. Again, we talked about it when you're having a all players meeting after week one, it's never a good sign. We already kind of, and I especially had called that they were going to be like the worst team in football this year. And I think that the other teams that are vying for being the worst team, the Jets and the Saints, they're still more sold on playing football right now. Like Aaron Glenn still has a team that is going out there and trying to play some defense, and they've been saddled by some really bad quarterback play. The Saints have one of the worst rosters in the NFL, but they're brand new head coach with a bad roster, and they're still getting some competitive play out of them. This Dolphins team, they are like a 30-minute plane ride from being in the Bahamas, being down there in Miami, and a lot of them are looking to that, being like, well, we're fucked. Like at 1-6, we're not going anywhere this year. And the guys that might be able to do something are more bottom end of the roster guys. And I still didn't think that they had one of the better rosters in the NFL to begin with. So you're talking about guys that, yeah, they're going to be playing for their future careers, but their future career still is probably projected as like a backup for a lot of them. Yeah, McDaniel has lost the locker room. His comments that you're referring to, he obviously didn't directly call out Tua by name. There can be an inference that Tua was one, if not the primary person that he was talking about players not doing the right things, not putting in the effort, not, they're going to have to evaluate.
He thinks he basically lost the game. He threw the game away.
Yeah, like the comments are definitely, if this was a type A personality coach, a strong-willed coach, and one that had a little bit of leash, it would probably resonate more with the team. But at this point, I don't think any of the players on the team really give a fuck, because they're like a ship without a captain, and that ship also has fucking cannonball holes all through fucking out it. It's a rough spot. I've said I don't think Tua is the guy there for a while. I think that, while he has some volume upside as a passer, a lot of that has been predicated on having a offensive scheme that can dial up a lot of trickery or a lot of interesting looks, and also having guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane, who can all be really explosive guys. And yes, they've got some players there. Achane's obviously still playing and trying to play as good as he can. He's still got 82 yards in this game on the ground. But Tyreek's not there, and I don't think he's going to be there. Jalen Waddle is a good piece, but he's not necessarily number one guy. He can't shoulder the entire passing game. And then your tight end, who's kind of come out of the blue and had a career resurgence, now has a pec issue and was not a factor in this game receiving whatsoever. Waller is now out, at least in the short term. There's not a whole lot that you can see there from offensive production. The defense was already really, really fucking shaky as is. One of the worst rush defenses in the league. It is firing McDaniels is a given.
Yeah,
you're going to get zero benefit from doing it now, and you're going to get zero benefit from benching Tua. I don't think you're going to get. There's no good answers in this one, other than we need to look next year.
You can see what Quinn can do.
Yeah, look.
Granted, he's a fucking late round quarterback.
Credit to Quinn Ewers. He was 5 for 8, threw for 53 yards, which was more than half of what Tua threw through 3 quarters, and also 3 interceptions for Tua. So, like, did you get better play? Yes. Was it good play? Absolutely fucking not. But if we were to project those stats out for a full game, 200 yards passing, no interceptions, no touchdowns, and a completion percentage of 65, 67%.
Yeah,
I guess that's not
good.
Yeah, and you factor in the weather game and everything. I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, you need to play all your backups. You need to see what you got there a little bit, but really start looking to next year, because this is a complete and utter disaster down there in Miami.
Yeah, the ship has sailed, figuratively and literally, down there.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Patriots going against the Titans. Titans got out to an early lead in this one. They were up at 1 point, 13-3, and then Vrabel said, no, and proceeded to dick stomp them 31-13. Another good game here for the Patriots, one that we kind of expected. Reminder Stevenson had himself a decent little day, but Patriots get the win here as we generally expect.
Yeah, the Patriots are making the playoffs for sure. Drake May is a fucking dog, dude. He is so good. I wish they would find a way to use Travion Henderson or fucking send him somewhere where they will, because it makes no goddamn sense, his lack of usage.
Yeah.
But they are really good, and the Titans are really bad. They're not a good football team. And listen, Cam is trying his best. It's going to be really hard to evaluate Cam Ward based on this year. His head coach was already fired. His offensive line coach was also gone. So that two of the most important parts of his fucking development are gone. So if you're a Titans fan, you're just kind of hoping that Cam makes it through the year unscathed without really kind of shattering his confidence, because I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, who can they? Nobody is coming to save this team. Tajay Spears getting healthy didn't really make a fucking difference. They can't block. They are in a bad spot. I feel bad for Cam Ward because they're going to probably suck for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's they don't seem at this point like one of those teams that's going to be able to find some sort of way to have a big turnaround unless Cam Ward makes like a monumental year 2 leap. But again, I don't know that it'll ruin his confidence.
Throw the fucking ball to
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to ruin his confidence. I don't see him as one of those types of quarterbacks. But you can ruin a player's development and set them behind. And that's the shitty part. Yeah, look, Patriots, good team. I'm going to continue to bang this table about them needing to seriously consider making something happen before the November trade deadline, because they are performing really well. Their roster still has a bunch of holes in it, and there are teams out there that are not doing well that are going to have players potentially available.
That's in division. That'll never happen. Well, it might happen in division.
Yeah, it depends on if Chris Greer wants to get fucking crazy. But look, there are guys out there. Olave, like that's a definite talking point. Guys out there that should consider getting. Yeah, I would like to see an offensive weapon added and a defensive weapon. They can get really aggressive because I think that this is their time if they wanted to. Like, I agree. I believe that they can make the playoffs this year. And I think that they can be a competitive team in the playoffs the way that they've been playing. And if they continue with this mojo that they got, you add one or two pieces that gives a little bit of extra spark. Like, this team has some really good things going for it. I don't know that this is their year by any means, but they've got good things going for them. And if you want to strike while the iron's hot, go out there, make some trades, bring in some talented guys, and they can provide you a boost, especially going into the playoffs.
Next Crosby's the guy that could be available too.
Yeah, I still think that would be silly for the Raiders to move on from him. But look, we'll talk about the Raiders right now. Raiders put up a goose egg against the Chiefs, 31-0. Also one of these kind of games that we expected. The Raiders do look like they're in shambles this year, despite having some interesting talent pieces on the team. Maybe Pete Carroll's lost it. Maybe he didn't have enough time to put together a roster that's going to work for him. But overall, real bad day there for the Raiders. Chiefs get another win.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this game. It was a complete fucking ass whooping. Should possibly become the new starter there. Try something else. Gino's not working.
Yeah, you got to try something else. Hey, we did get to see some backyard football bullshit from Mahomes, though. Got to hear him drop the F-bomb on TV or on a trick play. Really sold that.
Never works.
Future acting career for the guy, maybe.
Yeah, it worked, man. When I was originally watching it, I didn't have the context. So I was like, okay, it's very funny because it doesn't ever work. Everybody in the NFL fucking knows at this point what everybody's going out there to do. And it takes a moron to jump across. Now, it happens to some guys that get excited, and it absolutely happens. But it almost, like 999 out of 1,000 fucking times, nothing's happened.
Here's the question. Were the Chiefs stupid to use that in this game versus a team that they were probably going to handily beat and now not be able to do that ruse again, ever? Or did they only do that because they knew who they were going against?
Did they orchestrate? Because you say that you cannot, burn that. What about next time? Because it never fucking works and they know that they've done that. He goes to snap it, but he doesn't snap the motherfucker. And then you actually get somebody to come across.
I mean, for it to come full circle like that would be pretty funny. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll get back to you on that on Raw Dog Sports later. Next up, though, we have the Panthers at the Jets. Panthers get the win here. Another loss. Jets go 0-7. This game was 13-6 in the Panthers' way. And Chuba Hubbard played again. Rico Dowdle looked way better. Please just keep playing my guy, Rico Dowdle. Apparently, the Panthers are doing some heavy research into teams that use 2 starting caliber running backs, figuring out how timeshare should work. They shouldn't pay attention to the Seattle Seahawks, but they should pay attention to which running back is actually doing pretty fucking good. That's Rico Dowdle. He's the hot hand right now. He looked extremely good through 2 weeks, and I don't think it was fluky, despite the fact that, yeah, they were playing the Dallas Cowboys, who have a shitty run defense, and the Miami Dolphins, who have a shitty run defense. But they went up against a Jets team that has a okay defense, and Dowdle still, in a timeshare, performed pretty fucking well. Maybe focus on him. That's my thoughts on the game. It wasn't a resounding win by the Panthers at all, by any means. But I would like to see more Dowdle.
Well, I think you're going to possibly see some more Red Rocket out there. Probably some Dowdle, but this was just a shit show of a game. 4 quarterbacks played in this game. I don't know that any of them played really all that well. It's just, yeah, you're right. Dowdle played well. That's what happened in this game. There's not much to talk about. This was a shit game.
Yeah.
A couple of field goals and 1 fucking touchdown. Like, watching this back, I understand why the fucking Jets owner is like, Jesus Christ, I'll just do it. Because here's the thing. Aaron Glenn got this job, and Justin Fields was going to be the guy. He doesn't necessarily have another guy to go to, and it kind of puts him in a tough spot, right? So his owner coming out and saying, no, fuck this. Justin's not playing. Tyrod is starting. I think that actually that helps Aaron. It keeps him out of being the fucking bad guy, because this team is still willing to play for Aaron Glenn. Like, they love this dude. I think the owner loves this guy. The fact that they are losing the way they are, and they are still fucking playing hard, says what kind of coach he can be. I mean, he's going to come from that Dan Campbell coaching tree. Players love those fucking people. Like, so just the idea that I thought it was going to work. It's not. Aaron Glenn got a reprieve. This game was sucked. That's all there is to say about it. This game sucked.
Yeah. I think Justin Fields probably is kind of ruined there with New York. And this actually might spell kind of the end of his starting career. I think that you should still probably put him out there sometimes as at least like a wildcat option or something that can kind of scare the defense and make them have to think like, well, technically this guy can throw not very well, but he can throw. And we've seen Taysom Hill do this, but also he can fucking run for sure. And so it would bring up some unique looks, but to run that every single play of a game is kind of pretty much shown it's not feasible for this team right now. So you need to put someone out there who actually can be a competent quarterback, even if they're probably playing at more of a backup level in Tyrod Taylor. So possibly good things for the Jets there going forward. Let's take a quick look here and see who they have coming up and if any of these teams seem beatable. They have the Bengals, maybe Browns. You got the Browns, Patriots. That's not happening. The Ravens, if their defense still sucks, we'll see this week. Falcons, Dolphins. That's probably their first hope, I think, to get that win. Jaguars, Saints. They got a couple easier games towards the end of the year. If Terod's still out there doing his thing.
This team has not given up. That defense is good. They need some quarterback play, or they got to fucking make that running game go, because that hasn't worked either. So,
all right, next up, basically our game of the week here: Giants Broncos. Yeah. Broncos eke out a win by putting up 33 points in the fourth quarter, and this game was 33-32. Giants, look, Jackson Dart. Say what you will about his stats. Stats don't show everything. Contextually, he had himself a pretty good game, even though it was 15-33, 283 yards and 3 touchdowns. Did have some turnovers. Cam Scadaboo had himself a decent little day. Wan'Dale Robinson stepped up. They were going up against the Broncos defense, which I think you and I can both agree is a very good defense. And they were winning this game
handily.
Pretty fucking handily. And then to have the Broncos come out and put up a historic 33 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win this game. We had conversations about Bo Nix earlier in the day, whether or not the Bo Nix award needed to be brought out, talked about again, because of how bad of a day that he was having. And look, Bo Nix didn't have a great day, but when it mattered, there in the fourth quarter, had himself a day. And if it wasn't for the Giants playing some atrocious defense in the fourth quarter and having their international pathway player at kicker miss 2 extra points, Giants might have won this one.
Giants should have won this one. I mean, you don't lose a game like this, and you should not have. Like, the win percentage at one point had to be through the fucking roof for the Giants. They should have won this game. All they have to do is make 1 of 2 extra points, and we get overtime. I would be surprised if the kicker is he still there? Do we know yet?
No, he got fired today.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because he should be fired. I mean, you just lost. You allowed a team to have a historic comeback directly due to 2 of your failures, and that's your only fucking job on the team. Like, that's really tough. Go ahead.
Isn't it incredible when you're bad at your job? There's repercussions. NFL refs,
yeah, crazy.
NFL officiating. That's typically how things work. Said my piece.
Yeah, but yeah, crazy that this dude missed those kicks. Like, because it's Jackson played a great game, battled, even got them that fucking late lead after the Broncos battled all the way back. He thought he had finally got it done. Nope. Like, just the insane way that this thing ends is just unbelievable. Will Lutz, Dawg. I mean, to get into that moment, knowing what's on the line after the kickers for the other team shanked a couple, comes up huge. In 33, Demaryius Thomas was 33 years old when he passed away. He was honored at the game. They did that. I think there was 100. I read something about 170 former Broncos players were there in remembrance. That they did a bust of Demaryius Thomas. Just an absolutely insane story. Terrible for Giants fans, but fucking incredible for Broncos fans. And if you're a fan of just exciting football, you got a treat if you watch that game.
Yeah. And look, we both picked the Broncos on the money line, so it worked out for us.
It happened. I was like, oh, we were fucked.
I'll say this year with some of our betting is that for the most part, when some of these underdog teams go in and actually get a win, which, you know, the Broncos were heavily favored in this one. Despite the fact that maybe our pick isn't right, it is fun for me to watch because I do like watching underdog teams with some guys and some pieces that I actually like, which is this Giants team right now. I like Dart. I like Scadaboo. I like the scrappiness. When I get to see an underdog team like that kind of do their thing, I enjoy watching it. And so, as not really a fan of either of these teams, glad we got the pick right. But it was cool to watch the game and actually see an underdog doing their thing and then get to see something explosive there at the end. It was a very fun game to watch if you are a NFL fan in general.
I have to bring up something to actually probably warn you for the boys as well. Have you heard of scatterbooing?
Is that putting your head through a wall?
So producer Amber has a job. She is working as a aide at one of the schools, and there was a couple of middle school boys just bouncing their fucking heads off of the padded pole outside on the football field. And when she asks, "Hey, what are you doing?" the response was scatabooing. Apparently, that's a fucking thing now. Kids are going to be giving themselves CTE well before they ever even make it to high school. Thank you to Cam Scataboo.
Hey, he's a generational man. He's influencing the world. Love it. All right.
Tide Pods all over again.
Look, Darwinism is out there, brother. Next up, Colts, Chargers. Colts get the win in this one, 38-24. Another really good game from the Colts. I think that the whole had the Colts played good teams. Is their record really true? I think that kind of has to be dispelled at this point. They're a good fucking team, man. All around, offense, defense. I was surprised when I saw that, that Colts defense going into the game actually had one of the worst defending secondaries. But I actually did see it in this game. Their secondary does give up quite a bit of yardage. They can give up a lot of explosive plays, but kind of everything else with this team works. And that offense is able to put up so many points that you are seeing what a really, really good offense can do, complemented by at least a decent defense. And this Colts defense is pretty good, in my opinion, despite the fact that they do give up a lot of passing yards. Because Justin Herbert put up over 400 yards, 420 blaze it smoking for him that day, 3 touchdowns. But Colts came out on top. That offense looks extremely good. Obviously, can run the fucking ball really well with Jonathan Taylor. Daniel Jones looking fantastic, passing the ball. And I'll say this. Kamani Vidal didn't have the greatest game, and I know you've been a big supporter of him for this Chargers team. But another guy that I banged the table for is a late-round pick who ended up going there to the Chargers, Oronde Gadsden II. Gadsden, if you don't recognize his name, his dad, pretty good receiver in the league back in the day for the Dolphins. He had himself his breakout game. I talked about him a couple weeks ago and said, hey, this guy's actually getting to see the field, starting to do good. 7 catches, 164 yards and touchdown for this tight end. Another good receiving option there for this Chargers team. But Chargers end up taking the L here, 38-24. And now they got a short week to prepare for my Vikings going out there to LA.
Colts are a wagon, bro. They're probably the best team of football right now, I'd say, in terms of how complete their games are. Because this Chargers team's not a bad team. That's a complete team who's maybe a little banged up, right? But this Colts team, they have everybody you line up against them. Doesn't matter. They play them hard or they whoop their ass. One of the two. Jonathan Taylor is a fucking revelation again. It's spectacular. Daniel Jones, I hope it keeps it going, man. The redemption stories are cool. When we had Geno Smith for those couple of years, the redemption story was cool. Seeing your guy up in Seattle, fucking Sam Darnold, it's kind of cool seeing him still be able to keep it going together, man. So I'm here for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how the Chargers rebound on Thursday. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Next up, Commanders, Cowboys. Cowboys put up 44 points. That's what that offense is able to do. Really good offense. Yeah. And we're able to get the W versus the Commanders, who are only able to put up 22 points for a 66-point total game. Took the over in this one. Worked out for you. Cowboys, offense is good. Defense is so-so, though they stepped up a little bit. But this Commanders team, Jaden Daniels goes down again. Another injury to the leg. They are down Debo and McLaurin, and they're down at running back with only Bill Merritt kind of doing things back there. This Commanders team is kind of beat up, but I'm actually here to say I think that they are a mid team. I think last year was a little bit fluky, even with Jaden Daniels. Look, all the respect to him, but I don't think that they are the team that they were last year. A little bit more of a flash in the pan. They need to get a little bit younger and obviously get healthier at a lot of different places on this team. Cowboys, again, week to week, if they aren't going up against a good defense, they're going to be able to put up a lot of points. And if they go up against a good defense, they'll still probably be able to put up a pretty respectable amount of points. But that defense is still scary. Again, I don't think they're a playoff team, even though they are 3-3-1 at this point.
CD Lamb being back was huge in this game. The weapons was just the huge disparity between the two sides. Jaden Daniels going out, obviously, they had basically no shot at that point. They were already down when he went out. So I don't know that it was going to make a huge difference anyways. Cowboys played a great game. But Jaden Daniels didn't have anybody to throw it to, man. They were kind of void of a lot of talent, a lot of big playability from their side with Debo and McLaurin out. So they are probably going to end up in that mid-range, kind of where you're talking about. I had high hopes for this team going into the season. I thought Jaden Daniels was going to repeat, but multiple injuries, his receivers being down, that shit happens. I don't know that it's him having a sophomore slump or having a bad year. I think it's just that he's been hit with injuries. The entire team has.
Yeah.
So,
for sure. All right, next up, Green Bay Packers go into Arizona, and they almost drop one to the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals. They end up getting the lead back right there at the end. Packers win 27-23. Jacoby Brissett, should he just be the full-time starter there for the Cardinals?
Yes. Plain and simple. Yes. Kyler is why? You're going to pay him an assload of money to do what? To make your receiving core look like they're inept when they're not? I don't understand why you go back to Kyler. We talked about this before. Like, if Kyler plays this game, like Packers for sure, but because we didn't get to know beforehand if Jacoby was going to play, we were both like, well, then I'm going to take the fucking points for the Cardinals if Jacoby's playing because he can keep this thing close. He runs a more professional pro offense than Kyler Murray does. That's what comes out week after week. Kyler is explosive, yes. But when you are playing the game of football, the majority of it happens on schedule. And if you can't fucking play on schedule, you can't really play. That's Kyler's problem. Jacoby knows exactly what the hell he's supposed to do. He's a pro.
Yeah. Look, this Cardinals team on offense, I do think that they got some decent weapons out there. Now, the running backs, obviously, they kind of got screwed there. All the running backs go down with injury, and now you're playing a guy named Bam Knight. Sounds like a made-up name. But they still have offensive weapons there. Imagine if they had their complement at running back and a quarterback like a Daniel Jones there, which is a statement that you would never think that you would have said a year ago today. But, I feel like a quarterback that can run that style of offense like a Daniel Jones, all of a sudden, this Cardinals offense has still put up 23 points. There's a much bigger upside there from Jacoby Brissett. There was times that we saw Jacoby run. Jacoby's not a young man, and he's never been like the running style quarterback, but a guy who can run more like a Daniel Jones. I think that's a perfect kind of fit there. They probably put up 30 or more points in this game. Things look a lot better. This Cardinals team, I'm not completely sold on Drew Petzing as that offensive coordinator. The defense has some teeth to it. If they get a healthy running game and a better complement at quarterback, we could be seeing a pretty monumental jump, almost akin to like what we saw from the Colts so far this year, where they can make some big strides. So I just don't see that happening.
I think you're of the ilk that Kyler should not be the starter there anymore.
Yeah, look, I think the proof is in the pudding. We're just seeing such better play. It is not like, oh, we're just seeing more consistent play. We're just seeing that much better play from Jacoby Brissett, who is a backup quarterback in this league. They need to actually take a serious step back, and I think they need to address quarterback this offseason one way or the other. I don't think that they'll be able to get off of Kyler, even though they want, they should want to trade him and try to get something for him. But I don't think they will. I don't think they have the balls to do it.
I don't know, man. I mean, they dumped Rosen after 1 year to get Kyler. It's entirely possible that they would be like, you know what? Kind of worked out once. Let's fucking cut this guy too.
Hey, Rosen was on a rookie contract. Kyler's not.
Very true. The difference between a couple mil and what's Kyler's probably hit this year, 55?
Something that is far too much in his play warrants. And that's the problem too, is I've had the conversation with, some Cardinals fans and things like that. Like, I feel like you could probably, to a very needy team, move him for a second round pick. Maybe the Jets just consider it. But because of the contract, it makes it a little bit more prohibitive. And his play recently makes it even more prohibitive. Got to have a video game clause in that contract or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they had that at one point. I think they pulled it out though.
Yeah. All right. That takes us to Sunday Night Football. We have the Falcons and 49ers. And the Falcons were not able to continue that hot streak. 49ers get the win 20-10. We saw a little bit more of Penix when he gets off of that spot. Saw him rolling around a lot, and the accuracy definitely did degrade, kind of something that we've been critical of him for. 49ers able to get that win on the shoulders of Christian McCaffrey. Huge day for him, 129 yards on the ground, 72 through the air, and 2 touchdowns total. Good day for McCaffrey, and a good win there for the 49ers.
Yeah, McCaffrey beat the Falcons by himself, essentially. I mean, because Mac Jones was just trying to find ways to get the ball to fucking Christian McCaffrey. And their defense, 49ers defense showed up, man. They were able to really kind of stifle Bijan, which is huge. One of the most dynamic players in all of football. So you slow him down, you can really make it a one-dimensional game. And if you can pin your ears back against a guy like Michael Penix, like you said, that we have talked about, if you move him off his spot, the accuracy degrades. I mean, that's the perfect recipe. So any team trying to play the Falcons, your number one goal, shut down the run game. If you can slow down Bijan and get into pass rush situations, you can beat Michael Penix. And that's what the Falcons, that's what the 49ers were able to do in this, man. They didn't have to be special. They just let their one special guy be special. And that was enough.
Yep, absolutely. All right. And then the fuck you Monday night games from the NFL.
These fucking
2 of them. We have the Buccaneers and the Lions. Lions get the win at home 24-9. And it seemed like Lions all the way in this one. I feel like the injuries and things like that finally started to catch up to the Bucs in this game. They really couldn't get much going on offense. But you did see that Lions defense that is ravaged, especially in the secondary, have a bunch of no-namers come out there and start playing good football, getting turnovers. Mike Evans goes down in this one. Apparently both a concussion and a shoulder injury, and that shoulder injury turns out to be a broken clavicle. He's going to be out for a majority of the year at this point, so didn't get to see too much of him. Also, your primary target other than that, Emeka Egbuka, was a game-time decision, ended up playing, and it didn't look like he was running at full speed out there. Kind of bright spot for him, though. Tez Johnson, that one touchdown that he had looked like the real deal. To get him as a late-round pick and the way that he's been performing is kind of exciting there. But overall, look, really good game from Jahmyr Gibbs. Fast as fuck, boy. That boy ran, 23, 22 miles per hour.
22 plus. It's
good
insane.
game from Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the Lions walk away with another win here.
Yeah, man. The Lions did exactly they're just so well coached. They did what you need to do with a bunch of guys that you don't even fucking know. Like the one dude that caught the pick and was staring into the camera. He was just signed up to up from the practice squad, I think, like last week.
Yeah, like the first play of the game, he got like trucked in the face, and they were like, "Oh, welcome to the NFL, guy," and he ended up having a good game overall from it, despite getting his ass kind of fucking knocked in the beginning.
Brutal run from Rachaad White. Yeah, understood. But look, they made it happen with dudes that you don't know because they're really well coached. That's why I'm not down on Aaron Glenn out there in New York. This team is exceptional. Now, Baker had a bad day. The ball sailed on Baker all day. His accuracy was off. So losing Mike Evans was a huge hit to that team. Not only does it change what you can do schematically, but Mike Evans is a leader on that team. He is the fucking Buccaneers. Like, he is that guy. So to lose him for how long you're going to lose him is a huge detriment. And I'm sure it sucked in the moment. Like you brought up, Tez did some things, but there was just so much playmaking happening from the Lions. Like the interception that happened up Otton, like that's just effort. That's coaching that's getting you to that point. Like, just fight. It's that biting the kneecap shit. Like, great game by the Lions. Tough game from the Bucs. Fun game to watch, especially when you understand like the background of what happened with some of these guys from the Lions team.
Yeah, for sure. And then that takes us to our final game, Texans, Seahawks. Seahawks get the win here, 27-19. Texans, they were able to stick around and they had some opportunities there at the end, but man, CJ Stroud running for his damn life. That offensive line absolutely showed why they are one of the worst in the NFL. CJ Stroud had a tough one there, but Seahawks looked generally good despite having 3 turnovers and walk out with that win. And I'm going to continue to bang this table. Kenneth Walker, free Kenneth Walker, trade him. If you're not going to use him, trade him. Charbonnet looks like he's doing good things there. I understand. Charbonnet, I think, is a decent back, and you want to use him a lot. Don't set Kenneth Walker on the bench. Quit fucking moving him off the sideline. And I swear to God, I can see it in his eyes. Whenever he's going off to the sideline, he's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Why am I
Play them both? Fucking find some 2-back sets or something. God damn it. Like, I don't understand their usage. It worked. Charbonnet got in the end zone twice, but the usage sucks. I understand. Kenneth Walker got more carries. It's when these carries are happening, though, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. At the same time, though, the Houston Texans, they are running the wrong guy in wrong situations as well. Woody Marks is not a guy that you want to run between the tackles all the time. That's Nick Chubb's fucking job. Like, let him go get that yard. Like, so the offense for this Texans team is not good. The offensive coordinator's probably got to get fired because also it doesn't have any offensive linemen. They're the worst. That's the worst unit. You say one of the worst, dude. I've watched every line. They are by far the worst line in it. They have to chip both ends because their tackles are completely inept. I do not understand how they go from where they were last year with their line. Think that you can replace it with what they have now, and it would have a chance to compete. It's just insane to me. It is complete mismanagement by the GM, and the offensive coordinator has not helped at all, especially in the running game. So, sucks for the Texans.
They move off Laramie Tunsil probably because he's good for a false start every 5 plays. But like, I would take that for the level of play that you get from Laramie Tunsil. Otherwise, you'd be in a better spot. Yeah, it's a tough look for Texans.
Well, they're basically starting behind the sticks. They lose yardage on almost every fucking possession because their line is so bad. They're almost always behind the sticks. They just give me the fucking 5-yard penalty and toss Larry Tunsil back out there.
Absolutely. All right, but that wraps up week 7 for us here, and then we get to look ahead towards week 8. And look, a novel idea. Yes, I know we got 6 teams on bye, but I had to double check and make sure the NFL wasn't trying to fuck us again. We only got 1 Monday night game this week, which is wild. But we're not going to talk about the Monday night game just yet. We're going to save that for our Saturday show. We have a Thursday night game. My Vikings going into LA versus the Chargers again. Carson Wentz is going to be the starter there. This Vikings team, which looks relatively healthy outside of Carson Wentz starting, going up against a somewhat beat up Chargers team on a short week. Right now, according to FanDuel, not a sponsor, but absolutely could be, Chargers are favored -3 points at home in this game, over under of 44.5. Mike, where are you going in this game?
I was actually expecting the spread to be a little bit bigger. Because
some books have it at 3.5.
Okay, that's the hook would have been really nice. But because I don't get the hook, I'm gonna rock with the Chargers on the money line. Obviously they lose a tough game against the team that we think is really, really good in the Colts. But you guys have also kind of struggled. Carson Wentz has struggled. We have not seen the same uptick in quarterback play from Carson Wentz that we saw from Sam Darnold last year. KOC is very good at, getting quarterbacks to do what he needs them to do. But the difference between Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold, I think, is pretty clear between the play that you're going to get. So I think it's going to be tough for you guys to win this game. And since I'm not going to get a hook or something to keep me away from a push, I'm going to go with a team that I think is probably a little bit better right now, and the Chargers. So Chargers money line for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Chargers have a good chance of winning this one as well. I'm going to take the Vikings plus the points a little bit because I'm a homer, but also because it feels like Kevin O'Connell has done a good job of getting the team prepared on short weeks, where typically it's on after bye weeks and things like that, or long weeks, the team performs or teams perform better. But that just hasn't been the case under KOC. He is an Andy Reid where it's like almost a guaranteed win coming off of a bye. It's actually more favored towards a loss with this team for whatever reason. But short weeks, they tend to try to get things together. And it's going to be a get right game for guys like an Isaiah Rodgers. Also, you should hopefully see a little bit more efficiency in the red zone from this team, maybe not go away from the run so much. And they might be able to take advantage of this offensive line, which is encountering more and more issues for the Chargers team. Justin Herbert does scare the shit out of me because obviously he has the ability to put the team on his back. But we do like to play games close. And so while I would have liked that hook here from FanDuel and maybe the line moves a little bit more here in the coming days, I will take the Vikings plus the points and hope that we're able to keep this one close. They also seem to be a back and forth team this year. Good game, bad game. Good game, bad game. Just had a bad game here this last week. We were able to get a decent win against your Browns the week prior, or the last game that they had played prior to that. Maybe we're able to steal one out here in LA.
We'll see, brother. We'll see. I mean, I'm not rooting for you because I took the money line, but obviously I don't want to, shit on your team. I like you guys, man. I love the way that organization is run.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I hoped that maybe we would just go ahead and put JJ McCarthy back in there, which, I think is a scary situation because he's essentially a rookie quarterback. We are going to see a lot more bad play from him, but we need to see that bad play before we get a chance to see any good play. He's not 100% yet, still working on some mechanics and stuff like that. And I understand why you might not want to start him on a short week. But in that case, hey, give me something fun and interesting in Max Brosmer, because we kind of know Carson Wentz can be very, like I said, volatile. But we'll see. Worst case, two quarterbacks go down and JJ McCarthy gets to go out there as our emergency third.
Oof. Emergency third. You don't want to avoid those emergency thirds.
There's worse ones out there.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. I think Zach Wilson's still kicking around the league.
He is in Miami.
I know.
Ewers was upgraded to the backup quarterback this week.
Yeah, weird. Yeah. It's almost like there was a sense that something like that might happen.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, brother, I think that wraps up the recap and then the Thursday night game. So, my man, we can get the fuck out of here. You got anything else for the people before we do that?
No, sir. Looking forward to hopefully a good week of football and a good week of fantasy.
Yeah, I need a bounce back week in my fantasy leagues, man. I've had a lot of injuries to my teams, and I've been in bye week hell. So it's been tough.
Yeah, I think the waiver wire is going to be hot this week because there are 6 teams on bye.
Lot of teams on bye. But my man, I appreciate you to everybody who's tuning in. Thank you very much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of us your time, we are forever grateful. I am Mike, and that is Evo. I'm going to give him one last word before we get the fuck out of here.
Like I said, kind of at the beginning of the show, positivity. You got to keep positivity in your life. Think positive, good things will happen. There are 2 things that you can affect: your attitude and your effort. All right. Those will help shape your life and make things go the right way. No matter what's going on, keep focused on your attitude and your effort, and positive things will happen for you. And you can come and see me at my seminar where I talk about all these positive things. It's only going to cost you $130 for a 1-hour session. Your boy is not getting paid right now. And it's either this or I have to go to the gym and sell my fucking underwear on OnlyFans. So you choose. Or if you're watching the show, you could please give us a quick like, share, and subscribe to help promote the brand. We would be eternally grateful.
That would also very much help us. Evo, very well said. My baseball team has heard that a lot. You control your attitude and effort. You control those controllables. Appreciate you, my man. Everybody tuning in. We will be back Saturday afternoon, where we are going to gamble on all 13 games this week. But until then, we are going to get the fuck out of here. See you.